Yah Scriptures, the first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 50. Then Adam and Hawwah went out and came into the cave of treasures and stood praying in it the entire day until the evening. And this took place at the end of the 50 days after they had left the garden. But Adam and Hawwah rose again and prayed to Elohim in the cave the whole of that night and begged for mercy from him. And when the day dawned, Adam said to Hawwah, "Come, let us go and do some work for our bodies." So they went out of the cave and came to the northern border of the garden, and they looked for something to cover their bodies with. But they found nothing and did not know how to do the work. But their bodies were stained, and they could not speak from cold and heat. Then Adam stood and asked Elohim to show him something with which to cover their bodies. Then came the word of Elohim and said to him, "O Adam, take Hawwah and come to the seashore where you fasted before. There you will find skins of sheep that were left after lions ate the carcasses. Take them and make garments for yourselves and clothe yourselves with them." The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 51. When Adam heard these words from Elohim, he took Hawwah and went from the northern side of the garden to the south of it, by the river of water where they once fasted. But as they were on their way, and before they arrived, Satan, the wicked one, had heard the word of Elohim communing with Adam respecting his covering. It distressed him, and he hurried to the place where the sheepskins were, with the intention of taking them and throwing them into the sea, or of burning them, so that Adam and Hawwah would not find them. But as he was about to take them, the word of Elohim came from the Shamayim and bound him by the side of those skins until Adam and Hawwah came near him. But as they got closer to him, they were afraid of him and of his hideous appearance. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam and Hawwah and said to them, "This is he who was hidden in the serpent, who deceived you and stripped from you your garment of light and esteem. This is he who promised you majesty and divinity. Where is the beauty that was on him? Where is his divinity? Where is his light? Where is the esteem that rested on him? Now his form is hideous. He has become abominable among messengers, and he has come to be called Satan. Adam, he wished to steal from you this earthly garment of sheepskins, so that he could destroy it and not let you be covered with it. What is his beauty that you should have followed him, and what have you gained by obeying him? See his evil works, and then look at me, your Creator. Look at the good deeds I do for you. I bound him until you came and saw him and his weakness, and that no power is left with him." And Elohim released him from his bonds. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 52. After this, Adam and Hawwah said no more, but cried before Elohim because of their creation and their bodies that required an earthly covering. Then Adam said to Hawwah, "Hawwah, this is the skin of beasts with which we shall be covered, but when we put it on, we shall be wearing a sign of death on our bodies. Just as the owners of these skins have died and have decomposed, so also shall we die and pass away." Then Adam and Hawwah took these skins and went back to the cave of treasures. When they were in it, they stood and prayed, as was their habit. And they thought how they could make garments of those skins because they had no skill. Then Elohim sent to them his messenger to show them how to accomplish this. And the messenger said to Adam, "Go out and bring some palm thorns." Then Adam went out and brought some, as the messenger had commanded him. Then the messenger began before them to work the skins, after the manner of one who prepares a shirt. And he took the thorns and stuck them into the skins before their eyes. Then the messenger again stood up and prayed to Elohim that the thorns in those skins should be hidden, so as to be as if it were sewn with one thread. And so it was by Elohim's order, and they became garments for Adam and Hawwah, and he clothed them with these skins. From that time the nakedness of their bodies was covered from the sight of each other's eyes. And this happened at the end of the 51st day. Then when Adam's and Hawwah's bodies were covered, they stood and prayed and sought mercy of Yahweh and forgiveness, and gave him thanks because he had mercy on them and had covered their nakedness. And they did not stop praying the entirety of that night. Then, when the morning dawned at sunrise, they said their prayers as was their custom, and then went out of the cave. And Adam said to Hawwah, "Since we don't know what there is to the west of this cave, let us go out and see it today." Then they departed and went toward the western border. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 53. They were not very far from the cave when Satan came toward them. He hid himself between them and the cave in the form of 2 ravenous lions that had been 3 days without food. And they came toward Adam and Hawwah as if to break them in pieces and devour them. Then Adam and Hawwah cried out and begged Elohim to deliver them from their paws. Then the word of Elohim came to them and drove away the lions from them. And Elohim said to Adam, "Adam, what do you seek on the western border? And why have you left of your own will the eastern border, which was your living place? Now turn back to your cave and remain in it, so that Satan won't deceive you or achieve his goal to overtake you. In this western border, Adam, there will go from you a descendant that shall replenish it, and they will defile themselves with their sins and with their yielding to the commands of Satan and by following his works. Therefore will I bring waters of a flood to cover them and overwhelm them all. But I will deliver what is left of the righteous among them, and I will bring them to a distant land. But the land in which you live now shall remain desolate and without one inhabitant in it." After Elohim had spoken to them, they went back to the cave of treasures, but their flesh was dried up, and they were weak from fasting and praying, and from the sorrow they felt at having sinned against Elohim. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 54. Then Adam and Hawwah stood up in the cave and prayed the entire night until the morning dawned, and when the sun came up, they both went out of the cave. Their minds were wandering from the heaviness of sorrow, and they didn't know where they were going. And they walked in that condition to the southern border of the garden, and they began to go up that border until they came to the eastern border, which was Land's End. And the cherub who guarded the garden was standing at the western gate to guard it from Adam and Hawwah, in case they should attempt to suddenly come into the garden. When Adam and Hawwah thought the cherub was not watching, they came to the eastern border of the garden. But as they were standing by the gate, as if they desired to go in, the cherub turned around as if to put them to death according to the order Elohim had given him. And the cherub suddenly came with a flashing sword of fire in his hand. When he saw them, he went toward them to kill them, for he was afraid that Elohim would destroy him if they went into the garden without Elohim's order. And the sword of the cherub seemed to shoot flames a distance away from it. But when he raised it over Adam and Hawwah, the flame of the sword did not flash out at them. Because of this, the cherub thought that Elohim was approving to them and was bringing them back into the garden, and the cherub stood wondering. He could not go up to the Shamayim to ascertain Elohim's order regarding Adam and Hawwah's entering the garden, so continued to stand by them, unable to leave them, because he was afraid that if they should enter the garden without permission, Elohim would destroy him. When Adam and Hawwah saw the cherub coming towards them with a flaming sword of fire in his hand, they fell on their faces from fear and were as dead. Then the Shamayim and the earth shook, and another cherubim came down from the Shamayim to the cherub who guarded the garden, and saw him amazed and silent. Then again other messengers came down close to the place where Adam and Hawwah were, and the cherubim were split between joy and sorrow. They were joyous because they thought that Elohim was approving to Adam, and wished him to return to the garden, and wished to return him to the gladness he once enjoyed. But they were sorrowful over Adam because he was fallen like a dead man, he and Hawwah. And they said to themselves, Adam has not died in this place, but Elohim has put him to death for coming to this place and wanting to enter the garden without his permission. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 55. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam and Hawwah and raised them up from their dead state, saying to them, "Why did you come up here? Do you intend to go into the garden from which I brought you out? You cannot return today, but only when the covenant I have made with you is fulfilled." Then Adam, when he heard the word of Elohim and the fluttering of the messengers, which he only heard and did not see, he and Hawwah cried and said to the messengers, "O Ruah Ha'Qodesh, who wait on Elohim, look at me and at my inability to see you. When I was in my former bright nature, I could see you. I sang praises as you do, and my heart was far above you. But now that I have transgressed, that bright nature is gone from me, and I have come to this miserable state in which I cannot see you. You do not serve me like you used to do, for my flesh has become like that of the animals. O messengers of Elohim, ask Elohim to restore me to the state I was in formerly, and ask him to rescue me from this misery, and to remove the sentence of death he passed on me for having trespassed against him. Ask him, as I ask him to do these things." Then when the messengers heard these words, they all grieved over him and cursed Satan, who had misled Adam, until he came from the garden to misery, and from life to death, and from peace to distress, and from gladness to a strange land. Then the messengers said to Adam, "You obeyed Satan and ignored the word of Elohim who created you. You believed that Satan would fulfill all he had promised you. But now, Adam, we will make known to you what came over us through him before his fall from the Shamayim. He gathered together his hosts and deceived them, promising to give them a great rain, a divine nature, and other promises he made them. His hosts believed that his word was true, so they followed him and renounced the esteem of Elohim. He then ordered us, and some obeyed and under his command and accepted his empty promises. But we would not obey, and we did not take his orders. Then after he had fought with Elohim and had dealt disrespectfully with him, he gathered together his hosts and made war with us. And if it had not been for Elohim's strength that was with us, we could not have prevailed against him to hurl him from the Shamayim. But when he fell among us, there was great joy in the Shamayim because of his descent from us. If he had remained in the Shamayim, nothing, not even one messenger, would have remained in it. But Elohim in his mercy drove him from among us to this dark earth, because he had become darkness itself and a performer of unrighteousness. And Adam, he has continued to make war against you until he tricked you and made you come out of the garden to this strange land, where all these trials have come to you. And death, which Elohim brought to him, he has also brought to you because you obeyed him and sinned against Elohim. Then all the messengers rejoiced and praised Elohim and asked him not to destroy Adam for his having sought to enter the garden at this time, but to bear with him until the fulfillment of the promise, and to help him in this world until he was free from Satan's hand. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 56. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam and said to him, "Adam, look at that garden of joy and at this earth of toil, and see, the garden is full of messengers, but look at yourself alone on this earth with Satan whom you obeyed. If you had submitted and been obedient to me and had kept my word, you would be with my messengers in my garden. But when you sinned and obeyed Satan, you became his guests among his messengers that are full of wickedness, and you came to this earth that produces thorns and thistles for you. O Adam, ask the one who deceived you to give you the divine nature he promised you, or to make you a garden as I had made for you, or to fill you with that same bright nature with which I had filled you. Ask him to make you a body like the one I made you, or to give you a day of rest as I gave you, or to create within you a wise soul as I created for you, or to take you from here to some other earth than this one which I gave you. But Adam, he will not fulfill even one of the things he told you. Acknowledge my favor toward you and my mercy on you, my creature. Acknowledge that I have not shown vengeance on you for your transgression against me, but in my pity for you I have promised you that at the end of the great 5.5 days I will come and save you. Then Elohim said again to Adam and Hawwah, Get up, go down from here before the keruv with a sword of fire in his hand destroys you. But Adam's heart was comforted by Elohim's words to him, and he worshipped before him. And Elohim commanded his messengers to escort Adam and Hawwah to the cave with joy instead of the fear that had come over them. Then the messengers took up Adam and Hawwah and brought them down the mountain by the garden with songs and praises and hymns until they arrived at the cave. There the messengers began to comfort and to strengthen them, and then departed from them towards the Shamayim to their Creator who had sent them. But after the messengers had departed from Adam and Hawwah, Satan came with shamefacedness and stood at the entrance of the cave in which were Adam and Hawwah. He then called to Adam and said, "O Adam, come, let me speak to you." Then Adam came out of the cave thinking he was one of Elohim's messengers that had come to give him some good counsel. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 57. But when Adam came out and saw his hideous figure, he was afraid of him and said to him, "Who are you?" Then Satan answered and said to him, "It is I who hid myself within the serpent and who spoke to Hawwah and who enticed her until she obeyed my command. I am he who, using my deceitful speech, sent her to deceive you until you both ate of the fruit of the tree and rejected the command of Elohim." But when Adam heard these words from him, he said to him, "Can you make me a garden as Elohim made for me? Or can you clothe me in the same bright nature in which Elohim had clothed me? Where is the divine nature you promised to give me? Where is that clever speech of yours that you had with us at first when we were in the garden?" Then Satan said to Adam, "Do you think that when I have promised someone something that I would actually deliver it to him or fulfill my word? Of course not. I myself have no hope of obtaining what I promised. Therefore I fell, and I made you fall for the same reason that I myself fell. Whoever accepts my counsel falls. But now, O Adam, because you fell, you are under my rule, and I am sovereign over you because you have obeyed me and have sinned against your Elohim. There will be no deliverance from my hands until the day promised you by your Elohim." Again he said, "Because we do not know the day agreed on with you by your Elohim, nor the hour in which you shall be delivered, we will multiply wars and murders on you and your descendants after you. This is our will and our good pleasure, that we may not leave one of the sons of men to inherit our place in the Shamayim. Our home, Adam, is in burning fire, and we will not stop our evil doing even a single day, nor even a single hour. And I, O Adam, shall set you on fire when you come into the cave to live there." When Adam heard these words, he cried and mourned and said to Hawwah, "Did you hear what he said? He said that he would not fulfill any of what he promised you in the garden. Did he really at that time become sovereign over us? We will ask Elohim who created us to deliver us out of his hands." The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 58. Then Adam and Hawwah spread their hands before Elohim, praying and begging him to drive Satan away from them so that he could not harm them or force them to deny Elohim. Then, suddenly, Elohim sent to them his messenger who drove Satan away from them. This happened about sunset on the 53rd day after they had come out of the garden. Then Adam and Hawwah went into the cave and stood up and lowered their faces to the ground to pray to Elohim. But before they prayed, Adam said to Hawwah, "Look, You have seen what temptations have befallen us in this land. Come, let us get up and ask Elohim to forgive us these sins we have committed, and we will not come out until the end of the day before the 40th day. And if we die in here, he will save us." Then Adam and Hawwah got up and joined together in entreating Elohim. They continued praying like this in the cave and did not come out of it in the day or night until their prayers went up out of their mouths like a flame of fire. The first book of Adam and Hawwah, Adam and Eve 1, chapter 59. But Satan, the hater of all that is good, did not allow them to finish their prayers. He called to his hosts, and they all came. Then he said to them, "Since Adam and Hawwah, whom we deceived, have agreed together to pray to Elohim night and day and to beg him to deliver them, and since they will not come out of the cave until the end of the 40th day, and since they will continue their prayers as they have both agreed to do, that he will deliver them out of our hands and restore them to their former state, let us see what we shall do to them." And his host said to him, "Power is yours, our master, to do what you command." Then Satan, great in wickedness, took his hosts and came into the cave on the 30th night of the 40-day period, and he beat Adam and Hawwah until he thought they were dead, and he left them as dead. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam and Hawwah and raised them from their suffering, and Elohim said to Adam, "Be strong and do not be afraid of him who has just come to you." But Adam cried and said, "Where were you, my Elohim, that they should punish me with such blows, and that this suffering should come over me and over Hawwah, your handmaiden?" Then Elohim said to him, "Adam, see, he is master of all you have, he who said he would give you divinity. Where is this love for you, and where is the gift he promised? Did it please him just once, Adam, to come to you, comfort you, strengthen you, rejoice with you, or send his host to protect you? Because you have obeyed him and have obeyed his counsel, and have followed his commandment and transgressed mine?" Then Adam cried before Yahweh and said, "Yahweh, because I transgressed a little, you have severely punished me in return. I ask you to deliver me out of his hands, or at least have pity on me and take my soul out of my body now in this strange land." Then Elohim said to Adam, "If only there had been this moaning and praying before you transgressed, you would have rest from the trouble in which you are now." But Elohim had patience with Adam and let him and Hawwah remain in the cave until they had fulfilled the 40 days. But the strength and flesh withered on Adam and Hawwah from fasting and praying, from hunger and thirst, because they had not tasted either food or drink since they left the garden, and their bodies functioned erratically because they had no strength left to continue in prayer from hunger until the end of the next day to the 40th. They were fallen down in the cave, yet what speech escaped from their mouths was only praises.